Okay, so hi,
Okay.
you want to start, Rich?
Yeah, I'll introduce you. Hi,
Okay.
this is, you're recording. So this is Rich Wanschneider at the Josephy Center. We're here with an actual live exhibit and one of the live exhibitors, Mike Koloski. But our director, Cheryl Coughlin, wants to say a few words about the center and about the exhibit before Mike starts. So have at it, Cheryl.
Okay, hi, I'm Cheryl Coughlin. I'm the executive director at the Josephy Center. And we are so honored and privileged to have this show up with, it's called Three Creative Journeys, and that's with Mike Koloski, Mary Edwards, and LeViner. And basically, these are three artists that have been in the county for years and years, and they've always, I think they're three very selfless artists and people. They've worked very hard at their craft. They've been formally trained, yet they've always been the advocate for the artists, and they've always worked hard, volunteered for organizations to help raise awareness of other artists out there. And I'm just really, this has been a long time coming for each of these artists to be part of this. And one thing that I see kind of the thing that kind of brings the three of them together is their compassion and their passion for their work. They are driven, and there's certain things they're attracted to. For Mike Koloski, I think it's rocks and light, and he has a really nice paintbrush, very gestural, and he's just an incredible artist. And you're not creating art so much now, but we can ask you more about that. But I just wanted to start with that and tell people that the Josephy Center is now open. Our hours are 12 to 5, Monday through Friday, and 12 to 4 on Saturdays. We are requiring masks, so you get your fashion on, you wear your mask. And yesterday we had over 20 people come in. It was pretty fun, although we had a little hard time hearing each other because we sound a little muffled. But people are just really enjoying the show, and they're also coming upstairs to see the new Nez Perce exhibit along with the show that's downstairs. And one thing, if you feel like you can't come in, we have put together a really nice exhibit online, and the exhibit is really easy to navigate through. And many of the pieces are for sale. Some of them, we have prints for sale of images. So Rich, do you want to walk through the online gallery with Mike?
Or can we share this screen?
Yeah. Do you want me to share it or to you?
No, let's see. I can click a share screen right here. Host disabled attendees screen sharing. My God almighty.
Well, I'll unlock that. Okay.
We're all in the throes of new technology here, aren't we?
Okay, you should be able to do it now.
Okay, so if I, share screen, and I want to do virtual exhibit here. There we go, huh?
You knew what you were doing.
Just like I knew what I was doing. And, okay.
You should get rid of that thing on the left side of your screen, Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should. How am I going to do that?
You need to go.
Wait, right here, maybe. There, I got rid of it. Okay, now we need to be able to move from painting to painting, right?
Right. So because I'm not there to navigate, your screen is still not right. So why don't I share my screen?
Okay.
So stop sharing your screen, Rich.
Okay.
Cut that out.
I know. Quit. My God, my words to stop.
Let me see. Is it down below, or is it where you have opportunity?
No, you have to go to the share screen and stop sharing.
Okay.
Oh my
Well,
God, Rich.
well, what happened is I couldn't get to that thing, so I just.
Right, it's not closing the internet windows. It's you need to stop sharing.
We don't have that option.
Because we're not looking at a normal Zoom screen.
Press Alt.
Oh my God.
Let's see.
All right, then you're gonna have to go back. But see this thing on the side, you shouldn't have that there. And it's cutting off the whole screen. So
Okay,
go to the
stop
very-
share. Wait a
go to
second.
the
Now
very
I've got
top.
stop share.
Thank
Okay, I've
you.
stopped share now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I can't get rid of this.
Okay, so
Try go. There you go. Now, you see that icon on the top right?
okay.
There you go. Now you
So
got.
I'm sharing my screen now. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right, good. Okay, so we're going to go under current exhibit. And I'm going to go to the virtual slide show. And so what's really nice about this virtual exhibit, Seth Kinsey designed it, and you can view it one of two ways. You can, or actually three ways. You've got Mary Edwards, Mike Koloski, and LeViner. And so you can either look at these by artist, or you can go here and click on the images that are here. Otherwise, there's a little white arrow right here, and you can navigate through. And each one has a little description here. So I'll let you guys go through the slideshow, but I think it would be really great if Mike could talk about his images. And then if he wants to comment on Leslie and Mary's, he could do that too. So I'm just going to click on Mike. And Seth put together these little tip jars. Now the tip jars, it says to the artist, but I think they're really for the Josephy Center. Just kind of like when you come into the exhibit, you might put a $5 bill in, and any money that you put in that tip jar, we're going to apply it to the exhibit. And then we'll just have a little bit more extra cushion there. And we are creating a catalog. I don't have something on the website yet, but that catalog will be sent to the printer, I'm hoping this week. And we should be getting it in about 2 weeks. And so you could call to pre-order it. I am not sure how much it is, but I think it's going to be $15. And I'll let Mike take it away. Mike, can you see this okay?
I can see some of my paintings up on the screen. Thank you very much for including me in this, and thank you for including me in the show. I mean, folks, this virtual show is okay. I mean, it is something to do over the internet when we can't go see it in person. But believe me, I'm here looking at the paintings in person, looking at how it's hung. You've got the creativity of the people who put the show up, in other words, organized it. Megan Wolf and Mary Edwards and LeViner had a lot to, Cody had a lot to do with putting the show up. So it looks amazing in person. Now, I'm sure there's some of you who can't get to Joseph. That's fine. There's some of you who would prefer not to come in because you're isolating or something. Precautions have been taken. So I please urge you to come if you can to see this show in person. It is amazing. And I say that not because I'm part of it, but I'm proud to be part of it. So from there, what can I say about this?
You had some general comments you were going to make.
Yeah, my general comments are, first off, I want you to understand that we're talking about magic. And you think artists exaggerate when they talk about magic. But no matter what we do, how much we learn, what our intent is, what our abilities are in dealing with color, our abilities in composition, our abilities to put marks down on canvas or paper, regardless of all that, and our emotion and intent, it's magic. And I'm using the definition of magic from Webster's, which says an extraordinary power or influence seemingly from a supernatural force. Well, let me say for me, that supernatural force is the cosmos. For other people, it may be a benevolent deity or whatever, but there's something here that happens. And the artist has no matter how good they are, has no say in whether it happens in one painting and not another, or whether it happens to a tremendous degree, or whether it's there not at all. Anyway, having said all that, and I hope you understand it, now what I'm saying is I'm talking about something that is magical, and I'm trying to use words to hash it out. That's very, very difficult. Very difficult. And you'll forgive me for halting around here, but the three items that I wanted to bring to this was, as I looked at these paintings and as I looked at these photographs and I looked at the show itself, I think that's immediacy. There's an immediacy about these images. They force themselves on your presence. You feel like you're there. It's immediately conveyed in a glance. Now you can look at these things and you can scope them out and go from corner to corner and detail to detail, but they have a presence and immediacy that you just cannot deny. Okay, then the other thing that I find amazing is the color involved. And I see you're there on my paintings. Maybe you should put in some of LeViner's stuff too, and that beautiful Palouse shot from Mary Edwards. That's color, folks. And how they're manipulated, how they're emphasized in these artworks is something to be appreciated and learned from and looked at in detail. Whether it's bright color, whether it's a blending of different things, or whether it's black and white color. And then you say, whoa, black and white is the absence of color. Well, now when Mary Edwards is working with it, it's amazing. So then the third thing I wanted to say is there is a focus in each one of these paintings, or each one of these photographs, each one of these artworks that gets rid of the extraneous. There's not anything in any of these artworks that's not needed. There's no baggage there dragging them down. The photographer, the artist, the person who put this artwork together basically had some focus, or the focus came by magic, but it's there nonetheless. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Rich, help me out. Ask a question or two.
No. Well, we're gonna open it up to questions from the broader audience in a little bit here, Mike. But so you had three major things: the immediacy of the work, and the color and combinations of colors, and the and also the focus, and magic.
Well, okay, so let's just look at our rock art there for a second. That's one of my pieces. Or down below it, this little vignette of Lostine River. There isn't anything in there that's extraneous to expressing that. In fact, it's very, very minimalist when you look at it. Splashes of paint, and if you could see it in person and look at it, you'd see blobs and marks that don't seem to make any sense, and yet it conveys a pretty magical image. And I'm not trying to say, I don't know why that magic happened, but it sure happened here. So
when does a young artist feel that the hit of magic? When does that happen? Does that happen when you're
probably about five years old? Seriously.
Yeah, well,
when you take a chalk or a crayon and you put it to paper, I mean, that's a whole lifetime in itself, and you're only 3 or 4 or 5 years old. In fact, truth be told, most people have created their greatest artworks when they were in elementary school or kindergarten. And it's just downhill from there for most of us.
That's probably because you don't have the judgment that you do when you're older, you know, where your right brain kind of talks you out of things with your left brain, or vice versa.
Right.
Yeah.
And another way of looking at it, Cheryl, is as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, what do you have to express yourself with? You have your body, you have your crying if you want to, you ever show your emotions. Or, my goodness, somebody gave you a crayon and you get to put something on paper. So your whole being and presence is in that one mark, because that's all you got to communicate. Then we learn things, we learn tricks, we learn techniques and all that stuff, and we think we know more now and can express ourselves better. Nah, got to get rid of all that stuff, pare it down, deal with the inside, let your insides come out and whatever you're putting down for an artwork.
So do you try to, when you consciously, when you approach a painting, do you consciously say, try to look at it through your very young eyes?
You don't have them.
You don't have them.
You do the best you can with what you get and hope the little boy comes through.
So Mike, I know this particular painting was part of a Imnaha series. Is that correct?
Yeah, which never got fully completed, but it's waiting for the rest of its companions. I have about 3 or 4 of them done. And what I was going to do was do a year in Imnaha. This was probably a May painting.
Okay.
So,
are we taking questions now?
Sure.
Yeah, Mike, I was wondering about you seem to alternate between oil and alkyd. How do they behave differently for you?
do they what, Ed?
The alkyd and the oil?
Oh, the beauty of them is they behave the same. The alkyds dry faster, so you can get on with life. Seriously, when you're working with oils, sometimes they take forever, so you can get on to the next step. And I'm a kind of guy who want to have that immediacy. I want to get it down. So I like to go quickly.
Okay, thanks.
Another question out there?
I noticed that you do a lot of your work on boards. And I'm curious, how did you discover your love for the board versus, just a regular canvas? What is it about the texture of it that attracts you?
Well, it's pretty simple. when I deal with canvas, the canvas sort of sops things up. In other words, I put down there and the canvas absorbs a lot of it, doesn't give it back to me. When I hit a hard surface, by golly, it's right there. I can put down what I want and it just comes right back at me. It doesn't, it's very clean. It's what you see is what you get.
Gotcha.
There are people out in the entryway. I'm telling them to come in. Come on in, folks. We have a little Zoom show going on here describing the exhibit, but you're welcome to walk around and take a look and listen to Mike Koloski while you're at it.
One of the
Mike,
first.
I'm just going through the slideshows, and you can see that each painting has a little description that artists wrote themselves.
And I leave those for you to go through. This is a magnificent piece, as is this one. You know, I admire photography, but here I'm seeing the intimacy, the immediacy of it, the it's just hard to say.
Ineffable is what they say.
Yes, in other words, she tripped the shutter here. Now she may have tripped the shutter at some other time, at all through the day, but right here she knew, by golly, I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to trip that shutter, and look what she got. By the way, I've told her I want this one. Not all of them. She can reprint others for other folks, but this is my image.
I commented about where her vantage point is in each of these. She obviously had to climb to, this is that step-toe hill, but all of these kind of resemble water. Even though it's land, it just seems like there's a lot of water in a lot of her pictures. And she kind of admitted that often these look like waves, even though it's the desert. Anyway, we can see that in a lot of these. This painting by Leslie has won quite a few awards, and is for sale and is in the gallery.
Let me say something about Leslie. If you could hold it on there for just a second. Or you can trip to her.
Can I go back one? Because this one's got some really nice light in it.
Good. Leslie LeViner was one of the first artists I met when I came to Wallowa County and started doing my art. I was down in the field by the Six Ranch, right where, what is it? What's the name of that creek? Sunrise Creek. Comes down to meet the Highway 82. There was an old cottonwood there, and I was out in the field painting it. Probably the second or third time I've been out doing anything like that, because I was now free from building my house and I had the time for it. Leslie pulled up. She said, she told me who she was. She was moving to Wallowa County, or her mother was here, I think, and she was moving to join us. And from that point on, we have known each other, and I admire her work. What I admire about Leslie is she is a plein air painter extraordinaire. By plein air, I mean she goes out, she paints what she sees right there. Sure, she brings it back to the studio and finishes it, so to speak. But 85, 90%, 95% of what she sees, wants to put down, is done outdoors. Now, those who have not done it, it's a very difficult thing to do. I may work outdoors, but that's just to better my visualization or my connect with what's out there. I don't expect to get a composition or anything usable from plein air. What I do, I take photographs, I bring them back to my studio, I put them up on the computer screen, and by golly, you get that backlit light. And have composed my image very carefully, and then I put it down on canvas, on the board with my paint, and hope that magic happens. Is that less than what Leslie does? It's different than what Leslie does. So I appreciate and admire what Leslie does, but I can't do it, so I fumble along other ways and hope that my magic is as good as her magic.
So we're doing plein air workshops here now. Is there kind of a divide, Mike, about some people just get out there and they can kind of put it together right on the scene, and some people have a heck of a time and they have to capture it with a series of photographs and then.
Yeah, hold on to this one for a second, if you would, Cheryl. Think of this. Think of standing by the Lavina River with that water flowing toward you, all those rocks, the trees, the breeze, the ambiance and the air around you, the noise, and try to create an artwork. My golly, that's just too much for me. I've got to take the picture, I've got to compose it, I've got to then mentally bring myself back to the place and put it down and create a painting. So yes, it is different. Is one better than the other? I don't think so. I wouldn't expect Raphael to be out doing work under the sun. I didn't expect that Rembrandt did his work out plein air. It's just different.
Do you go back and check afterwards or during the process of composition as you're getting something up? Do you drive back to that Lavina River and take another look sometimes?
I may. There was a very fine Native American artist. Oh, I can't come up with Labrador?
Yeah, Jim Labrador. Yeah.
I went to a workshop that he was doing, and we talked about it. And what Jim Labrador does is he goes out in the field. He does not do plein air, but he goes to the mesas and the rock formations and on the reservation, breathes it all in. He says, collects it. He collects it in his body and his mind. And when he's full up, then he comes back and he puts some of it down on canvas. Yeah, I collect things when I'm out there. Sometimes it's a mosquito bite, sometimes it's something else.
Mike, what year was this painting done? Oh.
I don't know. It happened to be a poster for the art festival.
Okay.
So maybe 2013, I'm not sure.
It's a beautiful painting. I love when you see it in person, it's like it almost has a fuzzy feeling to it. Not that that was the goal you were trying to get, but there's some texture to it that really makes the water kind of come out, and you kind of feel those trees. Right.
It's a painting that if I would put a sign next to it that says, please touch. Unfortunately, you'd probably wear it out, but right. Touch it with your eyes.
I love this Mary Edwards. I love, she's very creative in her perspective. So
that's just a wonderful, wonderful photograph. And she has two of them there. They both won a prize at the Festival of Arts, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And they're just amazing. Can you imagine the mind saying, I'm going to get an image of myself as a reflection in the fender of a vintage car. And what's more, I'm going to make it so that you can see the vintage car, you can see where I am and all that's around me, and sort of say, wow. Some works just earn the word, wow. And that's one of them. Two of them.
I think you were talking about Leslie LeViner, and when I look at this painting here, Sparky Summer Grass, I'm always caught by her application of light and how reflective it is, and how great she is with the shadows. This looks like a smaller painting that of her favorite horse, Sparky, I guess.
This painting for me proves to me that she knows light, that she knows horses, that she knows how to paint, that she is brave enough to do it, and has the willingness to share. Good work, Leslie.
So I have a question, Mike. So how much attention does Leslie, does Mary, how much attention do you pay to artists like Jim Lavador, who does landscapes, but they're not realistic landscapes, at least most of them, and other movements and artists outside of the area?
Oh my God, the answer to that is we stand on each other's shoulders and elbow to elbow. If you don't appreciate a fine work of art, why do you think you can create one? There's just some wonderful stuff out there.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, across the top of my screen, I'm seeing some of Leslie LeViner's pieces. There's one with a young lady on a horse with a dog. I wonder if we could see that one again. Yeah, this one, could that be her daughter, Cody, I think, a few years ago?
Yeah, I think this horse was in Leslie's life for many, many years and was the subject of many of her paintings, along with Cody. So she's put together a lot of writings about the horse and her attraction or her compulsion to paint that horse. I think she had an early mentor. Well, it was a painter maybe from England. I think Pam was telling me it was somebody from England, maybe from the 19th century. So I'll have to look up the name that she gave.
Fellow by the name of Stubbs, who painted a lot of
okay.
A lot of horses back then. Yeah.
Thank you.
How much do the objects of painting, how much are you dependent on the time you were in to the objects you paint?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, say that in the Renaissance there were a lot of religious paintings. Okay, I don't see any religious paintings unless religiosity is in a very broad sense that you said here. How much do the times influence what's on your board or canvas?
Well, the times influence, but basically art history influences. I mean, horses have been painting from monarchs on chargers to foals being born to the beautiful paintings that Leslie's doing. So everything's been done. It's been done over and over and over by lots of people. And I'm not saying that it's old hat and it's not to be regarded. Everything's different. Everything's magical. What you do is what you do. What you do depends on where you are, what catches your eye. I mean, look at this. I was paying a visit to the coast, and when I go to the coast, what am I going to paint? A tree? I don't think so. I'm going to paint something that deals with where I am and how I'm feeling at the time. Okay. And right now, the world is open to artists. Everything's accepted. So there's religious iconography. In fact, when I was in Juneau, Alaska, I spent time with a painter who was an iconographer. Very strict set of rules, religious paintings, wonderful painter, learned a lot from him. But so there's all sorts of things we can experience and a lot of places we can express.
But he didn't convert you, huh?
No, no.
Can you talk a little bit about this painting, Sea Stacks Brookings? I just love your clouds. They are just gorgeous. And this painting is actually in the gallery and it's for sale. And wow, $1,200, that's a pretty good price, Mike. But if you could, I know you have an obsession with rocks, but you know, tell us how the process went with this. Is this kind of a plein air thing where you just went out? Because it's a pretty big canvas.
Okay, first off, I was on one of my walkabouts. I take walkabouts occasionally to get out of where I am and what I'm doing and what's hemmed me in and go out and experience something different. And I tell you that the area between Crescent City and, oh, I don't know, Brookings on the Pacific coast is a place that you definitely want to visit. So what am I going to do? I'm going to paint what inspires me there. But look at the painting itself. It's a classic landscape. It's a classic grand view. I have the deep clouds in the background. Dare I compare myself with Constable? No, but that's what you would see in a Constable painting. Then there's this object that captures your attention. First the big rock, then the little rock. I don't know, is that a hay wain off to the left? No, it's a rock on the Pacific coast. And what brings you from the back to the front? Well, those two objects, but look at the waves coming in. Look at all that froth and the stuff that I've thrown in there because I love it. These are all blobs of paint. And then, ooh, man, this guy must be getting tired. Let's take a little break here and just let him play in the sand. Walk on that sand spit, rest his eyes, and then I got to give him a way to get into that painting, though, the viewer. So what do? Seaweed, of course. I could even have a set of footprints going from the right of that painting, meandering through that wet water, down into the sand, and going off to the left. That'd be pretty obvious. So I didn't do that. I left you with the seaweed, the foreground, the place to rest your eyes, and get back into the main idea here and go off into the cosmos. Geez.
Yeah, Mike, what size is that painting?
Pretty big.
Pretty big, okay.
Or I can tell you.
It's right behind you there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2.5 feet by 3.5 feet or something.
Yeah, I'd say probably a
40 inches by 31.875. So it's a pretty big painting.
Very good size.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, one of the other paintings that's in the virtual show is called Appalachia. And I wanted to get it hung in the regular show, but it's so big behind Sally Brandt's piano.
Oh.
It's pretty difficult to get down on the wall. So you have to know Sally if you want to see that in person. But Mary Edwards.
We could set up some private touring with masks.
My God. I mean, this is magnificent. Well, the Palouse is the Palouse, and she's got to be there. And she's got to be there in late spring. And she's got to be on Steptoe Butte. And she's got to look at this stuff. And how can she not trip or shudder? Oh my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. Good job, Mary. I mean, it's unbelievable. We get to experience these places in the world. We go reach out to touch them with our art, with what we do. It's an excuse. Good excuse, Mary.
So let me do a little analogy to other art forms here, to music or to writing. People are asked, well, do you have an audience in mind? Do you have an audience in mind when you paint?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I had a I'm sorry, that's not fair. Of course I expect people to look at them. I don't have a particular audience in mind. In fact, one of my influential instructors during my training said, Mike, you got to paint what you're going to paint. If somebody wants to look at it and likes it, they'll be there. Otherwise, you got to do what you want to do. Very, very important thing. And that's what Leslie did. I mean, she's into horses. She was into light. She put it down. People like it, fine. They'll come, they'll buy it, they'll admire her. They'll talk about how beautiful it is. If not, that's art. Rejection is something that artists have learned early on, accepting rejection. Or somebody walking by. Now, I have been to some of the finest galleries in the world. And do you know what the average time is that a person spends in front of a work of art? It's in seconds. In seconds. People walk by, look at the tag. Oh yeah, well, I saw that one. Baloney.
Saw that in my book. Huh?
They're just touching, taking, well, never mind. Trophies.
But you're still when you're painting, you're trying to capture what's there, but you're also, as you mentioned with the painting behind you, you're also trying to lead a viewer into seeing something.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I mean, the audience is important in a certain sense. That can I pull it off, right? Can I get somebody to see this the way I'm seeing it?
Well, okay, let's talk about music. I can think of Grofé, and isn't the Grand Canyon Suite?
Right.
Yes, and the different places that music has taken us. I was watching PBS the other day, and there's a symphony written in Yellowstone, and they showed that. I mean, the artist, whether he's a painter, a singer, a composer, a writer, they see something that they need to express, and they're hoping that you are interested in it too. And they do their best to do it, and you should spend your time looking, try to figure out what that was, or not.
Well, you also have polemical art. You have art that tries to persuade you to I mean, you have the good old Russian Soviet realism.
Oh, yeah.
You have advertising art, right? Which can be very good, but
yep. So it's a very persuasive media. Do I poo-poo those? Absolutely not. There are ways of expression and using art to pull people in. In fact, I was watching another show on PBS about the Royal Collection, and during a Victoria and Albert's time, there was a lot of painting done to express how wonderful England was treating India, and how important it was that they were there. No different today. In fact, if you go on the internet and you look at the wonderful art that's being used to express how we feel about coronavirus, the humor we see in it, the poignancy and pathos in it, it's just amazing. They're using art to that.
Right.
So it works for a little infinitesimal virus on up to the cosmos. Woo! Boy, it's getting deep in here, Rich.
Well, it is, but that's, so your life journey, your art journey, you also had a career as a teacher and an engineer. You've had all kinds of careers, right?
Right, and I like to think that that's given me a richer place to come from with my art. Buildings, I built buildings, so surely I should know how to paint them. I've been on the ocean, so surely I know what waves look like. Whether it comes out in your art, it's there to be called on.
Yeah. Well, there was that I'd forgotten about that. Coast Guard pass. There you go.
What if Toulouse-Lautrec had been in a English pub instead of the French Valet-Berger?
And the whorehouses in France.
That's right. That's right. His paintings would be different. I don't think the British were quite into all that.
They hid it.
He'd learn how to play darts and drink beer, but
the British were much more subdued, right? About it went on behind the screens, probably, but yeah. So we are influenced. But there you're admitting it.
Don't move a bit here. This is just amazing. Do you see what kind of emotion is in there? What kind of thoughts? What's gone into this photograph? And it's complex, it's simple, and it's emotional. This is her dog. Her dog looks out for her. Her dog guards her backside as she's going through life. Probably licks her cheek when she needs to feel some love. This is a fabulous photograph. Does it all.
So, do we have any more questions out there from our Zoomers?
Maybe we've got nobody left.
Oh, no, I see him up there. I see him up there. Nobody wants to.
Don't feel intimidated that you think I know anything more than what I'm.
Well, there's another question. So you didn't feel that magic when you were 5 years old, but they gave you a copy of Right Brain, Left Brain, and you said, oh, maybe I'll try to get that part of my brain working. Is that a useful exercise for those of us who didn't feel the magic when we were 5?
Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody should doodle, draw. I'm prejudiced there. But don't forget, when I was 5 years old, I would do a drawing, and right over my shoulder, passing by, would be my favorite Aunt Frances, and it should say, "That's wonderful, Mikey. Hey, everybody, look what Mikey did." Am I going to continue to draw? You bet.
Yeah. We all need cheerleaders, don't we?
We do. Leslie. Plein air, folks. Out there looking at it.
She calls this a Monet Monday.
Yeah. She's got a group that apparently painted on Monday. And Monet, of course, was the impressionist who did a lot of work outdoors. Sure, the one of the hay bales. That's right out of Monet. If you can, sometime, Cheryl.
Oh, okay.
That looks like a little different style from the usual.
The painting that you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was probably more developed, more work done. Not to say it's any different or any better. It's just more of Leslie in there.
Uh-huh.
And look at this. Who hasn't gone by this barn? And what does that express to you? The permanency of man? I don't think so. The immenseness of the universe? Probably. Good job, Mary. Help, get me out of here. Come see this show.
Cheryl, do you have any wrap-ups here?
I don't. I would mention that, we're open Monday through Friday, 12 to 5, and on Saturday, 12 to 4. Many of these paintings are for sale, and several of them are not for sale, but we can make prints of them. And you can see on the website and on the labels, all of what you see here that's written next to the paintings is also in the gallery right now. So you can come down. We also have tons of books. I'd like it if you mentioned the new book that you have for your book club, Rich, and the date that you guys are going to meet. We do have several copies of the book here.
Yeah, we're reading The Night Watchman by Louise Partridge, the wonderful Chippewa writer from North Dakota. Okay.
I'm just gonna go through the rest of the slideshow.
Zoom me now.
And thank you so much, Mike, for coming in. We really appreciate it. And oh yeah, there's the hay, and then the Monet look. It's really beautiful.
And I see a few of my friends off here to the side. Please forgive me for running my mouth so much, Kathy and Ed, Nancy.
We enjoy it, actually. And here's your rock art.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the last one. So I think that's all I have to say. Thanks everybody for joining in. I am recording this, so you can watch it at a later date or tell your friend to watch it. And if not, urge them to come down and check out.
I just want to say how much I've appreciated this, Mike. Hearing your
the will I business the new little